All right, everybody, I'm back. So we're going to get started with our June Senior Advocacy Forum. As I shared, my name is Brian Tully. I am the founder of Tully Law Group. And our Senior Advocacy Forum is part of our monthly webinar series, sharing insight from different leading professionals in senior care, wellness, finances, on all topics, legal, healthcare, seniors and their families. It's where we try to share very important knowledge that is practical and helpful for everyday lives and for those that you love and care for. Today, our guest, are you there, Wes? Our guest today
I
is,
am.
okay, great. Today, our guest is Wes Triani, and our topic is Social Security, how to maximize benefits in retirement. Let me stop sharing my screen here. Very good. Now, for those of us in our audience, if you can please just give me a thumbs up or let me know in our Q&A box, chat box, that you can see us all, hear us. All right, great. Thank you, Ross. So again, our guest today is Wes Triani, and we're talking about Social Security, how to maximize benefits in retirement and beyond. Our guest, as I shared, is Wes Triani. Wes, he's been in the financial services industry since 1978, specializing in both the personal and corporate aspects of investments and life and health insurance. He covers the entire spectrum, drawing on his vast experience in business continuity planning and personal financial and retirement planning, and of course, in serving the senior community. Wes and I have known each other years ago, but we were able to reconnect recently on this topic. I know he's been doing events on Social Security and helping folks to understand it better. So what we're going to do, welcome, Wes. Thank you for being here with us.
Thank you.
What we're going to do is I'm going to, just like our typical Senior Advocacy Forum, I'm going to be asking some questions, and we're going to have a discussion about Social Security. If you have questions as we move through the topic today, please put them in the Q&A box, and we should have time at the end of this. And then Wes and I will go through and hopefully be able to answer all of your questions. All right. So many of our clients, Wes, are in their 60s and older, of course, and they're confused. You know, Social Security is a topic that affects everybody that's retiring, whether they're approaching the Social Security age, which again is a whole topic we're going to talk about. There is confusion. So I'm glad you're here, so we can kind of shed some light on this topic. So as we get started, can you give me an overview first? What are the topics and the concerns that you hear about most? So when people ask you questions, just to start off, highlight, what are we talking about that hits people the most, that they're confused about?
Sure. Thank you again for having me here today.
You're welcome.
So many. I guess the first one people ask is Social Security can still be around when I go to put money, put all this money in I have, is it still going to be here? And that's a realistic question. It's a good question. The answer is yes. It is somewhat political in the sense, not taking a side, but it depends on politicians voting for it. And nobody wants to do something that's a little off or whatever in an election year. Talk about taxes or cutting benefits, not really interest, but that's what's going to be needed to done right now, make it done right now. This will go till 2034.
The current structure
like that with no change.
Okay.
If nothing is done, which it does need to be done, and sooner the better, it will dip off like 21% or so. The good news is the people who are currently getting benefits, that will not be affected, but the new people coming in will see a reduction in these benefits. What can they do to change that is a question. You have a question or?
Yeah, no. So what you're saying is that politicians need to do something over the next 10 years in order to extend it.
Yeah, a lot sooner would be better. It's always not like when I used to do my papers in college on Sunday night for Monday morning. They need to do this, not the 11th hour, and it should be a good decision between us with the focus on helping everyone, not what's right for one party or the other.
Right. I get it. Fair. So that's the primary issue, is will it be there when I
That's one of the ones everybody asks, and what could be done. The answer is what could be done is they raise the retirement age between 66 and 67 now,
right.
currently. But if they move it to 68, that will give more people a little more time with that. Same thing with income. The maximum income now is 167. If you move that up to 250 or 400,
Yeah.
right, that people would be contributing more. That would add more money to it also. There's a number of different ways they talk about it, but the good news is it shouldn't affect people who are in it now, and there is answers, and they probably will come up with answers.
Good.
Just they need to do them. We don't know what they are right now.
Okay. All right. So then let's hit you with the first practical question. So, whether it's my parents or whether it's who are late 70s at this point, they've been taking it for years, but younger folks, clients, what factors should be considered in determining when the person should start taking their Social Security benefits? So if you could talk about the ages, the options, and what goes into that.
Sure. So the earliest you could take it is 62 under retirement planning. Disability is something else, and spousal and widows and such.
Sure.
62, and till it hits what's called your full retirement age. It's 66 and something to 67. And after that, then it becomes delayed, and the longest you can hold off on that is age 70. So at age 70, they're basically going to send check. You still have to apply for it, but that's the most you can earn up at that time. If you take it before your full retirement age, you're going to get what's called the reduced benefit. By far, the majority of people take it at 62. And without someone counseling or looking at all the ramifications of it,
right? Their
logic is, hey, I've earned this money. I might as well take it now. Right. And they could be shooting themselves in the foot if they take it before, unknowingly taking it before what's called their full retirement age.
Got it.
Okay. Do you have a question or?
No, keep going.
Okay. So what does that mean? So somebody takes it at 62. Let me start off by saying this. Every seminar I do, every crowd I speak to on this, somebody in the group says they took it at 62 and they explain their story. You know what? Some people need the money right now, maybe a single mom or someone else who doesn't have other assets or such. You know what? Then that is the right thing for them to do. That is the right thing.
Well, that's certainly one of the factors then in deciding whether or not to take it.
So one of the factors we first look at, so understanding that it's a reduced benefit, and after, by the way, just to continue on that topic, after full retirement age, well, let me rewind. If you take it before for full retirement age, 62 to 66 or something, you're going to have to, there is the earning test. And this means that you can only make a certain amount of income, 21,200 or something like that right now. If you make more than that, you got to give back $1 for every $2 you make, you got to give $1 back. And they don't say, okay, here's the money like that in the middle of it. So say what happened was a real story. A woman in the seminar said, I took it. And she goes, they're right. They do take it back, but they don't just take it back and say, yeah, I have to pay this. We'll stop this month. No, they stop it midstream. And she bought a car and got into an apartment based on this extra money. And she was still. So that's going to add to one of the factors also, but they stopped it like in April for her. 21,000 around here is not a lot of money.
Right.
They make it. You make more than 21,000, you got to give it back. So by April or whatever, she made that, and they stopped it, and she counted on this.
So let me repeat that. If you take it early before your retirement age, whether it's the 66 or the 67 as of now, then it's not only going to be a lesser benefit, but if you make greater than $20-something thousand, if you make greater than 21,000, part-time job or what have you, then they're going to reduce it. Every $2 you make, they take $1 off.
Yeah, well, they're not going to reduce it, but they're going to stop it.
Okay.
Like I said, at some point they're just going to stop paying you till next year.
Okay.
Till the next year, and then they start it up again, and if you keep making more than that. So, of the first things to ask is a factor is, if you're going to consider this, are you healthy? What are your health situations? If someone was dearly hurt, they have heart cancer or anything like this,
Yeah.
you probably would be prudent to take it. I don't know how long it'll live. So which plays into the next one, longevity.
There you
Yeah,
go.
longevity. So if I know that I was just with a woman last night, I said, how long was your parent? How old is your mom or dad? My mom is 95. My father lived to 94. Okay, there's clear longevity. She has no health problems. So
Yeah.
that's it. So that's the other side. So if you know longevity, maybe you could delay taking the benefits as long as you can.
Right.
Again, after full retirement age,
Mhm.
you can make as much as you want. It doesn't matter. After full retirement, you can have a full-time job and still get that benefit. And some people don't take it because they can delay the credits. And between full retirement age and age 70,
Right.
those 3 or 4 years, it grows 8% guaranteed a year. That's not my guarantee. That's the government's
Yeah.
guarantee.
Okay.
And that could be a prudent play. So if you don't do, next factor would be, do you need the income?
Yeah.
You need this now. You're working. Do you need it now? No, I don't need it. And do you have a spouse? That's another big one in it.
Sure. Sure.
It's not all about you. As I say, if you have a spouse and family, my line is it's not all about you, because you would want to get the most because of the survivor benefit. If you die, that person will get that benefit for the rest of their life as well.
Okay.
So that's what we need to learn that.
Good. So that's health, that's longevity, and that's their financial situation.
And if they're continuing to work or not,
Yeah.
and if you have a spouse, there's
And
5.
family. Okay. So all
Family.
that has to go into the mix and then
And
make.
plus, so we'll get into that more. Keep asking. I'm good. I'm better when you ask me questions.
Yeah, good. That's you're doing great. So you mentioned the earnings test. All right. Can you get into that a little bit more? So the earnings test only applies if you take it early.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. And the last year of your earnings, if it's in the last year of the right before the full retirement age, you can make more, and they do a 3-to-1 thing. $3, $1 for every $3 that go into it. So
Yeah.
it's a little bit, it's like 56,000 you can make in the last year. It does increase each year.
Okay.
The 21 goes up each year to that. But the last year they have a couple of special things. And if it's right before such, so that they're going to take money away. So you need to know
Yeah.
how much is you're going to get hit if you do this. So what's the contract? How much I make?
Right.
What's the trade-off? Everything's a trade-off. My favorite phrase in life.
Yeah.
Everything's
Right.
a
Give
trade-off.
and
So
take.
if you want to take it, I have people that take it and put it in the bank, and they're working full time. Okay, that's your choice.
That's what they want to do.
What they want to do.
But again, I love looking at the factors, right? Age, health, family, finances, working, all of that comes into play. And again, the fair warning there is if you just jump on it at 62 without going through the rationale and the factors, and you're working part-time, not only is it reduced, but they're gonna eventually cut it off if you're
Correct.
making that kind
And
of.
that if you get locked into that 62 or whatever it is, that's it for life. You're going to keep it. They make some adjustments when you reach full retirement age, but it is a lower benefit for the rest of your life.
For the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Now,
So it's like a pension. It's a very important decision.
sure. So not to jump ahead, and maybe you'll get into it later or somebody will ask a question on it. But if you take it early and then I know that I've had clients pause it, right? Are you able to pause? Is that something for now, or we'll get into that later?
Restricted. No, you can do it. You can actually back out of it. So if you did it, I met with someone and they said, my husband just took it now. And she was delaying hers and he took his. And I said, wow, why do you take his? Do you need the money? No, we don't need it at all. And she made a lot of money and all this stuff. And I said, okay, you don't need it. Why are you taking it? Well, he only took 2 months. Well, you could send that back.
You got to give it back.
You got to give it back. Yeah, that's a trade-off, if you will.
Yeah.
But you can get it back if it's in the first year, typically in the first 6 months or so.
Okay.
You can get it back.
Understood. All right. All good foundational issues. What are the different ways to maximize, right? I mean, not to call it a game. This is serious stuff, but there's a strategy here, right? That in order to maximize what the Social Security is. And of course, that's going to depend, if we're dealing with with a single individual needing it, then we're not really focused on waiting and delaying. We're going to need it just to pay bills. So this is, I would imagine the maximization potential is more about somebody that can afford to wait. Is that right?
To wait, and also if you have a spouse and what your other assets and such are.
Okay.
For example, if you have a pension,
Mhm.
let's take an example of two teachers.
Yeah.
That's who I had come in recently. Two
Sure.
teachers, good incomes,
Mhm.
two pensions, 403Bs.
Right.
They're probably never going to even touch the 403Bs,
Mm.
just to let you know, and that until 73 or 75, when you have to take RMDs, required minimum distributions. But the pensions come in,
Mm.
right? And that's an important decision, not unlike this,
Mhm.
how to maximize that. So which option to take in the pension is important, and we coordinate the Social Security,
I
which
lost
to
you. I
take.
lost you
Maybe
there.
one takes it.
I lost you there for a second. It froze. So just for, in case somebody else, it froze for somebody else. So you're saying we need to coordinate the pension with the Social Security.
And particularly if you have two people, and here's the bottom line that people don't think about. Well, I got two good pensions. We got two good pensions. We're set here. We got this other money. We're set here, right?
Right.
And we take this Social Security. When one dies, if you set up the pension because you have two,
Yeah.
that pension dies with that first spouse.
Mhm.
The Social Security reduces, goes down also. Where you had two, now you're only going to have one.
That's right.
So understand, somebody who has two pensions and everything is looking really good,
Mm.
you could lose the pension and the Social Security. You'll get the higher of the two Social Securities, but that could be 40-something% of your retirement income plus the pension going out. That's the planning part. You need to look at all these other factors in it.
Great point.
It's not just, well, I got all this stuff. Well, you might
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
You don't, you may be healthy and stuff and get hit by a bus. So you have to plan on all these
Yeah.
things. Other assets. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just sharing. So I was with a client yesterday, 70 and 79. Husband's a retired teacher, solid, good pension and a good Social Security. Now, this is interesting because, again, they're both at that point, they've already elected their Social Security options. But the pension really needs to be a part of this, because whether you take it all up front or you have that survivor's pop-up benefit after the actual employee pension recipient passes on, certainly comes into play. That's a very good point. They're not separate. Yeah.
Nobody sees these things, and the pop-up is a great option. There's like 7 or more options, but it could be joint and survivor.
Mm.
So the pension options, you can take the lifetime. And sometimes teachers say, wait a minute, if he dies, I got mine.
Yeah.
Okay, but you're going to lose the Social Security and his. You're not thinking this through. They may cover it with a life policy or whatever it might be, which is another play, another strategy, as you're saying. So in it, but you need to look at all these other things, the other assets you may have. What are your expenses? How will you expect? Did you don't come to me 3 months before you're planning to retire, or a month before. And now it's that 3 years. And now we can maybe do something, 5 years. We could do something about this, because maybe we can pay down different things. We have a woman, we amortized her mortgage that she could pay it off before she retires. So everything hit perfectly.
Yeah.
Very little expenses when she retires, and maximize her income with all these different things.
Very good point. Good point. Is there a general way to calculate? So if, just ballpark example, if the Social Security benefit would be $2,000 at retirement age, how much lower would it be at 62 and how much higher would it be at 70?
70-something%. It'll be about 70% of it at 62, increasing each year, and it'd be 124, 132% more at 70.
So it's roughly 30% less if you go early, and roughly 30% more if you go later.
Correct.
Interesting. Okay. All right.
And combining those two, it's 70-something, almost 80%, 76% higher. And that's the play. You're one spouse taking it, one spouse delaying it, and seeing how that works. Again, it's all my answer to all of these questions in the seminar, Brian. It depends. It's not a great answer, but it has to be the answer. It depends. Everybody's situation I think I was telling you another time that I had a woman in the seminar and said, hey, my friend took at 62 and she's doing fine.
Right.
Well, did your friend have the exact same situation? He goes, clearly not. Her
Yeah.
friend retired and lives with her mother, who has all the expenses paid by her mother. So having this money coming in was great. It was all extra that she didn't have to work for anymore.
Yeah.
This other woman was still working. So here she now took the reduced benefit, shot herself in the foot, so to speak, because she didn't even need the money. She had a good job and she losing it, and her situation was very different. So what your friend does doesn't necessarily reflect what you should do.
Okay, good point. So, and that goes with legal planning too. I mean, when we sit with clients, generally in this age range, when somebody's coming to us in their 60s, mid 60s or older, we're looking at not only, of course, expenses, income, assets, but we're looking at the potential of the reality of long-term care down the road. Some families have long-term care insurance, but a lot don't. And even those that do, it's not usually enough. It's not robust enough of a policy to actually pay for the home care needs or assisted living or the nursing home needs. So a lot of families we sit with, they're looking at the reality that Medicaid might be an option to pay for home care, even nursing home care. So New York has one of the best programs, remarkably, in regard to home care, and it's the same as everybody else when it comes to nursing home. But the idea of protecting assets and utilizing what's called an irrevocable trust for a house, some financial accounts, that all comes into play, because if we never have clients protect all of their financial accounts. We need our clients to have access to money so they're secure and comfortable and don't have to, ask a trustee or a child for money to come back. So what we're able to protect, what we want to protect, goes hand in hand with income. So it's all crucial. The question that hit me before is you were talking about spouses. And so just let's say we've got one spouse at $3,000 a month and another spouse at $2,000 a month. The one with $3,000 a month passes away. The next spouse, the surviving spouse, will have their benefit increased to the $3,000 number.
But they lose theirs.
But they lose their, that's right.
You gotta keep saying it because people don't think like that.
Yeah. You're not just getting your husband.
I got $5,000, over $5,000 a month coming in. Okay, it's going to be 3,000.
Right.
You're going to lose 40-something% of it.
So what's the time frame on that happening? Is it the first month, the second month, about 3 months before it kicks in?
Oh, a month or so later. Yeah.
A month or so later. Okay.
Yeah.
And then
when you would get that, right?
Another,
they're all set up for it already.
Okay. Another issue that people get, and maybe you know the answer to it, is, Social Security, you have to survive the month in order to keep that benefit.
Correct.
Right? So what we'll talk with clients and, all right, well, dad passed away on the 17th of the month, the Social Security hit on the 3rd. Don't clean out that account because Social Security is taking it back.
Correct.
Right?
Very good point. Not everybody knows that unless they live through it. Correct. They would take that one back because it does pass a line someplace where I forget what the exact date was, the 20th or something like that, that if it came in later in the month, it does go on to the next month.
Understood. Right. If it's received later in the month.
Yep.
Yeah. Got it. And that then means that the Social Security payments are proactive, or they're covering the month in advance.
Yeah, it's in arrears, actually. Correct. You get it in arrears. You get it if you got it. You applied in September.
Yeah.
You apply in August to get it in September, because it's going to start a month later. So everything is and that September payment is for August. So it's a month in arrears, is what the phrase is.
Okay. So
they pay you for the month prior.
Okay. But then why would they take it back if you die in September?
Because it's not yours. It's the one who died, it was his. But they're going to pay you. They're going to take back yours. You can only get one. So
during that time,
take back yours, right, and go for the one in September then.
Okay, very good.
So the idea is don't die in September. That's the message we want to send out to everybody here.
Understood.
Go ahead.
All right. So we talked about the factors. We talked about health. We talked about longevity in the family, which of course is no guarantee. We spoke about other income. We spoke about the actual retirement age of whether it's 66 or 67. Are they going to be increasing that? Are they talking about increasing that at all?
That's one of the options. If they made it to 68,
Yeah.
when they would step into it if they did this. I've read all these different books on it, and it's all proposal right now, and that's why I said it's political. It's what they're going to vote on and what they decide. But if they moved it to 68 or whatever, that would make a little bit more money to come into it. You know what the problem is these people were working, were working all these years, right? And putting in, it used to be for one person, 3 people working, it would feed a benefit of one person in retirement. Well, now that's down to at least 2 to 1 or less, because there's so many more in retirement. And not only are they not putting into it that mass amount of people, but they're taking out. So that's what's skewing the curve in that.
Sure. So, and we're seeing that on the elder care side, because our demographic period, right, pyramid is going upside down. So the younger folks that are around to care for the older folks, they're the boomers, they're going through that pyramid, and eventually that tip of the pyramid is going to be the widest part. Correct. And unfortunately, you know, we're not having as many children, we don't have as many workers. So the funding of Social Security, the funding of Medicare comes into play. And in our world, we're also looking at then the caregivers available to actually help the older generation. Correct. So there's a lot that goes into this mix for sure. Correct. Yeah.
There's a lot of moving parts in this, and that's why it's not, the answer is depends, and you need to sit down with somebody and talk to somebody about this, or at least look it over. You can look this over and research it all yourself. And I encourage people to do it. It's just a lot.
Yeah. Are there any strategies to maximize besides just waiting until older? I mean, I've heard throughout the years that, you know, depending on the financial needs of the family, they can, and if they're insurable, they can buy an insurance policy to replace money if the insurance, if the Social Security isn't needed. Is that still viable? Is that?
It is. It's funny you're saying that, because that is a play to a strategy to some way. Take this, because the one who had the bigger one, or maybe they're both, you know, like the example you gave before, 3,000, 2,500. Yeah. Hey, you're going to lose this. Something else steps in. So if you have a life policy securing that, typically you secure a pension with the same thing.
Yeah. Nope, lost you again.
Full option. You know, yeah, me too. Full option then in the pension, and that when somebody passes away, that money would come in income tax free. Yeah. Because the proceeds of a life policy come in a lump sum, and that can go to your family, where the pension joint and survivor doesn't. You basically is only going to go to a spouse. So if you have children and both spouses, God forbid, die in a car accident, that pension is gone at that point.
Understood. Right. So there's financial planning ways to address this.
Correct. As well. Correct. But the maximizing when to take it. I have calculators that sit and compute which is the best option. They show you 5 different scenarios or whatever. Okay. Maybe somebody holding off while the other one is delaying it. Take yours at a certain point, but you could take what's called a spousal retirement benefit off your Social Security. That would mean, the example would be, let's use your $3,000 person there. The spouse only was stay-at-home mom, I'll say, right? Typical situation. And they only have 800 or 500, and the other one is 2,000 a month. They can get half of that, up to 1,000 a month, without declaring their own, while their other one is still growing. Their own retirement is still growing, and maybe that would even out to be more. You can, the most you'll get is half. Right. In the scenario, let's say they had 800 and they took 1,000 was coming to them. That they really are taking the number of 800 of theirs and 200 of the spouses while that is growing. But if you let yours grow all that time, maybe you'll go over to 1,500. Right. Or more. So that's a strategy to be looked at also. And you have a calculator that'll do that, software that'll do that. Could show you these things. And it's also, it's called deeming. There's bipartisan act in 2015
Yeah.
stopped this great thing that they had, that you could have taken the spouse and let yours grow all the way into, I think they don't allow that anymore.
Okay.
That stopped at that point.
Got it.
Restricted applications.
Okay. Tell me about divorce situations. So you mentioned right there, perhaps a stay-at-home mom or parent for that matter. And then there's a divorce. So an ex-spouse, if they're not entitled to their own, they're entitled to the money, the spouse with the Social Security. Can you talk about that a little bit?
In some ways, it favors a divorced spouse more than a married spouse. It doesn't seem crazy, but here's the thing: divorced. I had a situation where I was in with a seminar, and a woman raised up her hand and said, if my husband goes to see Jesus today, my ex-husband, and would I be able to get any of his benefits? And I said, how long were you married? You have to be married 10 years. She goes, I was married 20 years.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know anything about him? Is he receiving his Social Security? You have to be claiming to get half of the benefit or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, he's had it, and he has a lot of money coming in from that. I said, well, you can call him tonight. You can go to Social Security tonight.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have to know. It's not being sneaky. She is entitled to half of his. He doesn't have to know, and it doesn't affect his in that scenario. So she could call, do you know anything about him? And she goes, I know everything about him. So it was, so she was able that next day to call Social Security and enable her to get half of it. If the spouse didn't even claim on the divorce, you can get half of his benefit also, as long as you're not married.
Remarried.
He could be married or remarried, correct.
Okay. Interesting. All right.
It's a lot of moving parts in that.
Yeah, understood for sure. Okay, so we're kind of getting to our point. I wanted to leave extra time for questions in case folks had them. So let me see. But while I'm looking this up, Wes, can you share your phone number so people can know how to reach out to you if they have questions about this?
Sure, 631-389-2350. That's my direct line.
Very good. Thank you. So if people have questions about Social Security, Wes will be happy.
Be happy to help them out.
Yes, yes. So question, are pensions considered income when determining your Social Security benefit?
Great question. No, neither is retirement benefits or any other thing. Income is earned income from like a job or if you're an employer like that. Okay. So no, it's not.
Only earned income. Great question, John. Thank you. All right. Now, another question. And please, folks, if you've got questions, add them. We have a few minutes. If I file my tax return with my spouse, if she takes her Social Security at 62, does my income matter or just hers?
Just hers.
All right. So it's the applicant only, not the joint
Correct.
tax return.
Correct.
All right. Another good question. Good. What's the definition of full retirement age? We mentioned it, but is it specifically 66? I mean, what's the cutoff?
I'm gonna do that. So from age, I'm gonna start at age 54. Okay. 54 is 66. Is age 66.
If you're 54 now.
No. If you're
born in 54.
Born in 54. We're dealing with people my age, bro.
Yeah.
So born in 54. It's age 66. Every year after that, it goes up. It's 66 and 2 months for 55. For 56, it's 66 and 4 months and goes up to 59, 66 and 10 months. At age 60, if you were born in 1960, everybody after is 67 is the year, their age 67 for full retirement age. So is that clear, or did I mess it up?
No, it's clear to me. So if you're born between 54 and 60, it's 66 years of age plus.
And then at 60 or later.
We froze again.
Later.
Yeah. So born 1960 in 1960 or later, it's 67 years of age. All right.
Frozen.
That was a
Everybody's age 67.
Good. I apologize to those watching with us because everybody's hardwired here. There's no wireless connection, so it's going to be Zoom doing this to us. So I apologize.
Do I
We
have to,
will-
does that help if I paid my bill? I don't know if that
Yeah.
helps or, yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
So with that said, and our website has all of our webinars recorded. So I don't know whether the recording is going to have that blip or not, but tullyelderlaw.com under events and webinars has all of our past webinars. We've been doing them for 3 years. So this webinar will be up by tonight or tomorrow if you want to catch it or share it with family. Does disability factor into the determination?
Big time. It's another whole category of it. When you get disabled, Social Security has the most stringent definition of disability in it for that, but you pretty much cannot work anywhere else to have any ability to work anywhere else. It's a very, yes, disability is, but not retirement. They're two different things.
So Social Security disability, that's an illness that lasts at least 12 months or results in your passing away.
Results in death. That's the line that gets everybody.
So that's Social Security disability, and then there's Social Security retirement, which we're talking about, two separate programs.
Correct.
Now, so Wes, can you receive both?
Nope.
Right.
Only one.
Right. And it's the higher of the two, or does the disability automatically end?
It's actually, you would be getting your full retirement age disability until you become full retirement age. And then it actually shifts. It's the same number, but it shifts to now retirement. There's two different stacks of money it's coming out of, two different trusts funds.
Okay.
So one is disability and one is retirement, and then the one shifts back to retirement.
So when you hit
your full retirement age.
When you hit your full retirement age, you hit that number and that's it. And it's considered retirement.
Yep, and then it's considered retirement. Same number. You're getting the $2,000 a month or whatever it is. It's the same.
Okay. How do you claim part of your ex's Social Security and your own?
You cannot. You can only claim one. You can only get one benefit. You would go and call Social Security, and they would combine both of them. In other words, so let's like the example I gave before. If you were getting 300 and you should be getting 1,000 out of that, they're going to only give you 700 of theirs, which would still be a gain for you. It should certainly call up Social Security. You can go online and do this, or you can go there. They're closing a lot of offices. I think locally there's still a bunch around, but I would tell you to go there and discuss it with them. They're very helpful. They're just understaffed and overworked and all that.
Right. Sure. If you're on Social Security retirement and then you have the opportunity to make money, to earn money, can you pause Social Security after that first year or what have you? And then
not after the first year. Correct. You could go and you can restrict it before. You can put in a claim. It's called restricting it or suspending it until you want to take it. But it's one or the other. You're going to take it or not. You can't, once you took it, you took it. That's why it's such an important decision.
So if somebody starts at 62, let's say 63, they start at 63, they're now 65, a part-time job comes in making 40 grand a year, they're stuck.
You're kind of stuck.
Okay. So if somebody is born in 58, the question is, I think we just need to clarify this, Wes. So if somebody's born in 58, the full retirement, he's asking if it's 70, that it's not.
66 and 8 months. 66 and 8 months is what's called full retirement age. If they could still wait till 70, and from 68 and 8 months to 70, it will grow 8% each year if you delay till 70.
All right. Okay.
That person could work and get Social Security, the full retirement, and get your full benefit at 66 and 8 months, and still working, make $40,000, $100,000 a year. It doesn't make a difference. You would get both at that point, and that might be a good strategy.
Sure.
There's math that you could do to see when it comes in, to determine, hey, when is the optimal time to take this? And you can do this math. It's typically like 72 or so if you did it at 60, 77 or so if you did it 62, or if you waited to full retirement age and said, well, what's the difference between waiting between full retirement age and 70? What's the difference in that would be? It's like 82, but that's where the longevity comes in. That's where you need to know that. And that's nothing's for certain. When are you going to die? I don't know. You know, it's a big decision. Not me. You don't know. No one knows. So You don't know what it is. So it's a big, important decision that way. Continue. There's a whole bunch of questions there, I see.
Are there any specific strategies for single individuals to maximize, or it really all comes down to the same thing, your longevity, your health, your income?
It does. And what do you need the money now? That's the first question I ask, how's your health? And then I say, do you need the money now? If the answer is yes, I don't have I can't work as much, or I can't get a job, or I have children or whatever, take the money.
Yeah.
It's better. It's for you. You put into it. This is a pay as you go thing. You paid into this and your employer. So you're entitled. Take it. If you need the money now, take it. The strategies for single people are different. You would still look at all those factors, and do you need the money now? That's the first question I ask.
And I think that's really a big factor there. Sure.
Absolutely. Cool.
General question: if married couple, healthy, doesn't need the money, is there any reason to take the Social Security earlier than 70?
Only no. I don't see it.
Financially speaking, no.
Financially speaking, no. You need to answer all the questions. You don't need the money, your longevity.
Yeah.
Well, my father died at 50 and my mother's, 62 and I'm 68. So I don't know. Okay. You need to think about it.
Got it.
But no, if everything is in good shape, I would delay it as long as you could.
Right. 8%. You can't beat the 8%.
Yeah. Where you're going to get that? Social Security, I just wanted to make a closing comment before I don't get the opportunity. What's great about Social Security is very much similar, like a pension. You cannot outlive this. Think about that. What other investment do you have that can say that? It's not affected by the market. It doesn't matter if the market goes up or down. This is going to come in. It has a cost of living feature, which I didn't even mention. They figure about 2% a year, but you know what this year was? 8.7%.
Crazy.
Big.
Yeah.
Big. Okay, that's one of the biggest ones that they've ever had. And it's backed by the federal government. And that's, to me, is still a good thing. And this could, your decision you make on this could affect not only you or your spouse. That's why I said it's not all about you or your children. You can actually have grandchildren on there or stepchildren if they're your dependents, getting benefit from your Social Security. If you take, that's why taking the most, you paid into it. Why not play it out that way?
Great. And again, all that goes into the conversation. Another question: Are any of the calculators available to the public? Like
yes,
any
you
website?
can go on. There's AARP has calculators, and Social Security has that. You do not have to call me. You can go on to them and look at SSA.gov and look for calculators and such.
Got it. All right. Another question. I got to read this one. So an older spouse was stay at home, but did work previously. Is there an advantage to them taking the Social Security early? And then when the working spouse then collects, does the spouse get a bump in their Social Security? So again, I think it's going through all the factors you've been talking about. But talk about the bump. What is there such a thing as a bump, Wes?
Well, the bump is when the working spouse, I don't remember the older part. I got a little confused. It froze again. But so one spouse doesn't have as much and one is still working. Right. If that, why take that? You could take your own, and maybe it's $300 for a while until $300 a month. That's $300 for yours. And then when the person declares it, you can get that spousal, which may be a bump. You can take half of that person's but once they declare their full retirement, they could declare it early. They could take it at 64, but then in half of their reduced benefit, and you got a reduced benefit. You're not playing with, it's not maximizing.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a play. It's a strategy. You have to look at the whole situation. What are your expenses? Where, what do you have?
It's all the same. It all goes back to the factors.
What kind of income do you have from your other assets and such? Yeah.
If I retired before 62 after working for 30 years, but I've been out of work for 9 years and now diagnosed with a terminal disease, can I collect before 62? Would
that person be considered disabled?
I would think you'd be looking at Social Security disability.
Disability would be the case if it is, but you're not working. So it's kind of a thing. There's That's a question for them, because I think not. I think you have to wait till 62, but if it'd be disability, you're not working.
Right. It's
Disability is if you're working.
Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunate situation, but I would talk to Social Security directly.
Please do. Yes.
Born in 1960 or later, full benefits are 67. And then what if you wait till age 70? Well, like we said earlier, it's going to be about 30% more.
Yeah.
Okay. If you can afford it, should you live off of your savings and wait to collect full Social Security? Again, it all depends on the
Depends,
fact.
but here's a play. Here's something else that comes up in my experience with things. We have people that had 401ks that had a real lot of money, right, in these 401ks. And if you defer that till your required minimum distributions, which is now 73 and later could be 75 as it's moving up, age 75, you could be messing up your Medicare, because Medicare has a sliding scale. It's $164 a month now for the basic plan. If you get much more income, and there's a whole scale with that may kick in at age 73, that you deferred it. So there's the play. There's what you got to see. Maybe it's a good idea to spend some of that down and not use your tax-free income. Your non-qualified income is what, like from a savings account or something.
All right, so another couple questions. Wes mentioned that the current Social Security SS criteria applies until 2034, when it could change somehow, when it will run out. But you also said people receiving benefits would be grandfathered in. Does that mean
kind of grandfathered in? It's projected that it won't be affecting these people that had it in.
Projected.
Projected to be that way.
Okay.
That a clear what was the question?
So the question is, does that mean people who are currently receiving benefits? Oh, the grandfathering in. So it's people that are currently receiving benefits.
That shouldn't have a problem, from everything I've been reading and being told by everybody. And this is think of the political thing that we're cutting people's things. They're not going to want to do it, but there is no absolute guarantee or grandfathering per se.
Understood.
We're all saying it's projected not to go down, so we shouldn't be worried about that.
Okay. Is there a difference in maximum Social Security by state? So the question is there a maximum Social Security in New York and a maximum in Florida?
The federal benefit.
It doesn't matter where you are. Great question. Okay, good.
Depends on how much you make. It's based on your earnings. Two things: your earnings, how much you made for the last the highest 35 years. That's an important thing that I didn't talk about. 35 years. So think about 35 years ago, how much you made as a paper boy someplace, right? Or whatever it is, right? And then the last years were probably a lot higher. So the longer you work, you're bumping the lower ones out and putting bigger ones in. So it's the last 35 years, not the last 3 years.
Got it.
Okay. So did I answer that question, or did I jump ahead?
No, you did. If I take at 67 versus 70, how long does it take to break even?
That's the break-even analysis. That would be probably 82. And how do I know that? I don't know. It's just a number that they figure would take to 82. That's why you got to say, how old the people in my family? And then shortly after that, it will be exponentially increasing. Your hundreds of thousands could be different.
Understood. Any Social Security strategies related to your required minimum distributions?
Just to watch to pay what you're taking out, because it's taxable. So like I said, one of the plays may be, I try to defer as much as I can so if somebody's got a pension, they got all other assets coming in and such, like incomes and Social Security or whatever it is. Well, I try to defer that, but you got to watch, because it's not only going to affect your taxes, it's going to affect your Medicare.
Got it.
Because you could be paying an awful lot more in Medicare.
Yeah, understood. If the full retirement age is 67, am I responsible to pay for Medicare A and B until I start receiving Social Security benefits?
So at 65, you would start Medicare paying for it.
But A is, you're getting
A is free. A is free. Yeah.
If you claim B, once you claim B, whether or not you're taking Social Security, you're still paying for it.
Correct. Medicare is separate from Social Security. It does come out of your Social Security, but it is not part of that program.
Okay, last question. Does an ex-spouse you're claiming on have to be getting Social Security for the spouse they're divorced to claim half of their Social Security? Let me try to get that one again. Does an ex-spouse that you're claiming on, does he have to be or she have to be receiving Social Security in order for you to get half? And you had said earlier the answer is no.
No,
Right.
that's amazing. Whereas the married spouse has to.
Understood. Okay. All right. Listen, Wes, that's 25 questions. That's the most questions we've ever had. This is quite a hot, confusing topic for a lot of people. So thank you everybody for attending. We had over 100 registered. It's a hot topic. And again, we'll have a recording of this on our website, tullyelderlaw.com. And Wes, if you can give your phone number one more time so people can reach out to you.
Absolutely. 631-389-2350. We're in Hopewell. So
very good. And the name of the company
is The Quintessential Experience.
Very good. All right. Wes, I'm going to say thank you for your time, your expertise. This has been a pleasure. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. And as always, if you have questions about the legal components, the legal side of it, feel free to reach out to us. It'll be our pleasure to help. And thank you. Be well. Thank you, Wes. Great. Bye-bye. Great job.